Hello, everyone! So, I put out a few videos in the last week or two, and I also looked at my calendar and saw, we're really close to the end of the year, aren't we? So, I decided, well, I have been doing this channel for about 3 years now, and I haven't done one of these before, which is basically going throughout the entire year and taking anime that I have watched from every season and basically putting it all together in a list of my favorites of the year. And seeing that I had so many from this year, and it's really the first time that I've done something like this, where I decided to really go through and pick out shows from each season that I would like to try to do. And I'm satisfied that I actually, not satisfied, I'm so proud of myself for being able to actually make it through the year with as many as I could. Now, this list, I'm not gonna lie, about 5 minutes ago, from when I am recording this, I had to modify the list. Because I got into a show that I knew that if I got into it any earlier, the list had to get modified. So, I'm like, yeah, let's modify this a little bit so that it fits everything. Now, how I did this top 20 list, yes, I somehow have 20 and an honorable mention, is that the entry, I think 20 through 18, 17? I think there are about 3 shows on this list that I have yet to complete yet, because I haven't had time to, but I included it as part of the top 20 since I am so close to finishing them. And let me tell you, there are so many controversies on this list that I would have wished I had, I didn't have to do what I had to do. In reality, we all know all the shows from this year have their own fan bases. So, in that regard, this is my personal list, my own opinion, and I don't mind anyone wanting to put their own favorites down in the comments, and telling me what their favorites are. Maybe you'll even find a new show with this list. Before I begin, I would like to say I am sorry for any pronunciations of shows. I am not good with Japanese or names, and I may not even say a name just because I am so bad at it. I will try to do my best to tell everyone what the shows are about. Also, some of the shows I haven't seen since they've released, so some of my knowledge may be a little bit off, but I will try and be as accurate as I can. And also, slight spoiler alert to anyone watching this, because I may talk a little bit too much. And by that, I mean I may absolutely go overboard when I talk about some shows, because I absolutely love them. But I will try and keep to whatever the summary of the shows say from when you first see it or want to get into it. So, I guess let's start with what will probably be my longest video ever on this channel, because I have so many things that I have to talk about. So my first is an honorable mention, and it will have to be Sakamoto Desuka. Or, have you heard about Sakamoto? I had this show on my list since I first found the manga in a bookstore, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Found out there was going to be an anime about it, so I put it on my list, and as soon as it came out, I hopped on it, and I can't let me I'll get my phone so I can look at when certain shows came out. Because I am slightly bad with this as well. I think this came out in the spring of 2016. And basically what the show is about is a boy named Sakamoto who basically he is the coolest person in the school who can basically do anything, and basically everyone loves him, and he can really basically do anything with whatever he has. And yeah, this came out in the spring of 2016. So the reason why I have it as an honorable mention is I had to add a show onto my top 20 list, and I didn't want to go over 20, but also because when I thought about this show, I started it, and it was pretty funny. But as the show kept going on, it just kept getting predictable. And, like, there'll be some parody moments, and there will be some very emotional moments when it comes to the show as well. But what kind of turned... Like, I did finish it. I did finish this show. I had to struggle my way through, but the last episode is absolutely worth it. But it's just a show that you want to watch it to see what he will do next. Not with, like, casual plot, because there really isn't much of a plot. It's his everyday school life, and there'll be continuous episodes, but in my opinion, it's not really a show that has much of a plot to it. But I would still say give it a shot if you like comedy, parodies, and if you want to see really creative ways to get things done. I think if I remember how many episodes, it's not a short show. Not like, I think it's like 12 episodes. Like I said, I'll look it up. Where I have a feeling it's 12 to 24 range. Yeah, there are 12. There are 12 episodes in this show. But I would say give it a shot if you like it. If not, I have 20 more you can pick from. Now, first one up for the actual list, and one of the shows that I haven't completed yet, is Ione the Animation. This show came out, I think, the fall. It's very recent, because there's only one more episode left that hasn't come out yet. And I'm like seriously waiting for that episode, because I haven't played the game Ione, because this is based off in an RPG game. I seen let's plays for it, along with parodies and other versions of the game. And when I heard they were making an actual show for it, I thought, oh, really? Wow, okay. I can't wait to see how they're gonna pull this off, like horror and all that. It's under the genres of horror, but this is absolute pure comedy. And it's the twist of it where they make everything so funny, and people who don't like gore, they basically blur out all the gore so you can't see it, and it's very pixelated. But like with Sakamoto, where it's like all about comedy, this is about comedy. And the first episode will have you like just sitting there going, what? What happened? I don't understand. And the episodes are also really short as well. They're like 4 minutes long, but the opening basically tells you, if you don't know anything about the game, The opening will tell you what it is, and it's also a minute, so it's really a 3-minute show. 3 minutes in 12 episodes, or, well, 13. And right now, there are, at the current moment, there are 12 episodes out right now. The last one is, I think, coming out over the weekend, I believe. So I will be done with this show very, very soon. And I recommend this to anyone who, my bad, who wants something quick, wants something to laugh about, anyone who knows what the game is, and wants to see, like, what their take on it is, because right now they're really actually getting into, like, games like this, where they're more popular to the Western culture. So I'm excited for this a lot. Well, I mean, I'm not excited for it. I'm, like, hoping that this starts, like, a chain of RPG games anime. Because there are so many that I know people want to see. Me, personally, I want to see Ib. And if you know Ib, and if you like Ib, you will probably like Ione, and maybe even the anime. So I say give it a try. And apparently they're making a movie, which I think is all the episodes compiled up into movie format. And I guess we're moving on to number 19, which is Days. And, anyway, quickly up with this. Like I said, if you like comedy or anything RPG, try this show out. It's really short, and you'll laugh. Number 19, Days, the TV show. And, if you know me, then, well, for anyone who does know me, I, for some reason, I don't understand it myself, is I like sports anime. And this will not be the last time you see a sports anime on this list. Trust me, and everyone will probably already know it's on this list already. But, Days is an anime that came out, oh shit, either the summer, or, I don't want to go, like, over the top with it. Hold on, I'm just looking it up really quickly. Because I don't want to get the information wrong. It came out in the summer. I couldn't remember if it was the summer or the fall. Just because I needed to, like, really think about when I actually started to watch this. And I'm about halfway through the series. There are 24 episodes, and the show is basically about a young boy named Tsukushi, who is the one in the center. He doesn't really have friends, and he decides to do soccer. And it's basically about him learning how to play soccer, make friends, and also go for something that he actually likes now, which is soccer, and his friends. And what got me onto the show would probably be, well, for one, I like Zuma 11, which is also a soccer show, and I haven't finished that yet. And I'm not a big fan of the sports soccer, and there'll be a lot of instances where I'm not a big fan of the sport in general, but if you put it in anime form, I will be able to understand it more, and also get into it more. So, to me, soccer is like that in this sense, where I'm able to understand it more in anime form. I think because it's anime and it's more catchier that way. Not understanding it myself. But, this show actually, it hits me harder than I thought it would, because of the fact that the first episode off the bat got me hard, because it kind of made me think of myself when I played basketball. And for anyone who plays sports, you'll be able to relate to at least one or two of the characters in this show. They're very diverse and with wacky personalities, and it could be like Haiku, but it's way more serious than Haiku. Well, not like really serious, but it's serious enough where Haiku, you get more of like a jokey feeling. This is you get a joke feeling, but you also can feel the tenseness of when people play soccer. Either way, if you like sports and you want to sit down and watch it, I would say try episode 1, see if you like it. If you don't like episode 1 or 2, then maybe it's not the right fit, because sports anime does that to a person where it's hard to find your match. Since I have so many friends who don't like sports anime, but always have one that they like for some reason, because they try it out and they're like, I gotta go with this one. So if you like it, keep going. Don't hold yourself back. Don't be like me and decide to pile on more anime, so I push this to the side. So, I think if I completed it, it would be a little bit higher on the list. Just because I love the friendship bonds of the show, but I would like to see more characters from the background come into the foreground. But next, which you'll probably, if I know the order of this, if I remember it, is going to be, the biggest controversy on my list. Number 18, Yuri on Ice. Came out so fucking recent, and in the fall, and I got into it from the time that I'm filming this. I got into this a few days ago. It has been on my list since the season started. I think if you remember, or if you saw my top... Oh no, you didn't see it. My bad, because I just uploaded it. Oops. It was on my top fall anime list, and I wanted to do this sooner. But I had so many shows that I was doing that I kind of let this drift off into the wind. And it wasn't until I heard so much commotion about it that I knew I had to get into it. And I basically pushed out a lot of shows, and I'm like, it's near the end of the year. I'm going to do it. How am I going to do it? In dub. What has dub not done? Finish the show yet. So I am 2 episodes behind from finishing the show. That's why it's so low on my list. And that's why I almost started to cry while trying to find a spot on this list. It would honestly be in the top 10, probably the top 5 of the season, of the year, if I could see the 2 episodes. And, of course, my sis said, just watch it in sub. And I looked at her and I said, no, why not? The accents. I chose to do dub over sub because of the accents, and it is worth it. There are very few shows that I say, watch it in dub, because a lot of people have the controversy of sub versus dub. This is a show, along with Hetalia, where the accents are important, so that you can understand where the characters all come from. Because, basically, in anime, some of the characters like to look the same. So, I suggest, if you do Yuri on Ice, either do it right now. and then join me on the bandwagon of having to wait for the episodes to come out in dub, or do it in sub. But apparently I got warned that I need tissues by me when I do the ending. And apparently season 2 has been confirmed, and I am excited because I really do like this show, I really, really do. But, apparently the ending of the entire series is a little bit off. So I don't know how I feel about it until I actually end it. So I am excited. Yeah, I've been watching this all day, trying to finish it before I made the video. Because I realized, oh, I got it done, I can actually add it more onto the list, and blah blah blah. So that's what I did, but as the unfinished category. But, what this show is about really quickly is about a figure skater named Yuri. And I forgot his last name, but, he is a Japanese ice skater who failed at a cup final, I believe, or an international, and he decides to basically stop. But then a Russian figure skater named Victor came to his home and said, well, I'm going to help you get better. And basically ends up being a coach to him. And it's basically about how you learn how to overcome yourself and actually go above and beyond with what you are able to do, while also trying to deal with friendships and all that, blah blah blah. But everyone knows you want figure skaters, male figure skaters. Yes, this is all about male figure skating, and it is great. And there are some moments of the show where I'm like, oh my god, holy crap. But anyway, to continue on the list, I think this is the last one of all the shows that I have not yet to complete. Everything past this point are shows that I have completed, and I can absolutely give you a solid score on what I believe is the best. Number 17, Kashi Kashi. This show came out in the spring of 2016, and it is about, oh god, a boy who wants to be a manga artist, and that is like his big dream, that's what he wants to do, but his father owns I think it's a Kashi, it's either a Kashi or a Takashi shop, which is basically a candy store, and he wants his son to take over the candy store for him. When the girl, that one, comes and says, oh, I would like you to come on and, well, she goes to the father and says, I would like you to come work with my father at a big international candy association, something like that. And the father basically says, well, not until you get my son to run this place for me. And her mission is to get his son to own the candy store, even though he doesn't want to. This show is very interesting, and probably for a reason I do not like, where I like cooking shows. I like anything about food, but what I like about food is like knowledge on food and all that. This show takes that and also mix it with Food Wars, where sometimes things will get really over-sexualized with food, and I hate that when it comes to anime. I would prefer that to stay out of anime completely. That's why I haven't watched Food Wars. But what the show did do good with was the fact that it was able to have a solid following of people who like candy and actually want to learn more knowledge, not only about the industry having to do with that, but also with some history on like, childhood games and traditions held that have to do with these sweets or savory treats. So it's a show that I think, if I can remember, either has 13. I'll just look it up instead of trying to do it. But the sorry, game out for a second. What the show is like, what the show does that is interesting is it came out in the spring, but I like the concept of it being over an entire summer. And with how the show ended, it's kind of like a perfect ending almost to the show, where you don't have a full completion, but you have enough to be satisfied. And of course, there will be like moments or like characters that you wish you would have been able to like have more knowledge about, but this show wasn't really meant to have like the big main character, the second character, and then very minor characters who you never see. This show was able to utilize like almost every character as a kind of main character or a co-character. And that's why I like, especially with like parents in anime, there'll be sometimes moments where they're not involved at all. You'll see them like once or twice, and then after that you won't see them. In this case, he's basically almost like a main character along with his son, and it's great. This show has 12 episodes, and it does run long. It's like the normal size episode length, but it's really long when you have to sit through it. So I recommend, for anyone who likes history knowledge like that, it is a comedy. And if you like food, and if you actually kind of liked Food Wars, you would like this show. Just be prepared to sit there for a while, since there'll be some episodes where they don't get to the point right away, so it really drags out. But the opening and the ending are absolutely worth it, since they are pop cultural references. So I would check it out and see what you think. It wasn't the highest one on my list, but it wasn't that bad. Number 16. Karibaka Wagahai no Kariwabaka Dara. This is probably the longest title on my list, and I'm so happy it came out as right as I did. But this is I don't think they classify it as a show. I think they classify it as an OVA. But it's, I believe, about 12 episodes long, and it's about a young girl who is in high school, and she basically, first day, tells her friends, oh, I have to go meet with my boyfriend, blah blah blah. And the handsome boyfriend shows up. Courage, like, all this, like, hey, I came to pick you up, blah blah blah. He is a complete idiot. Like, absolute idiot. And it's basically a show about her idiot boyfriend and them actually trying to go with the relationship right now. And not only that, all of his friends are really, really pretty. They're pretty, pretty boys. But they're all morons. So, and also, the episode length is also really short. Maybe 4 to 7 minutes long. If you haven't noticed by now, I took a liking to all the short shows right now. because this is not the last time that will be happening, but it's basically a show where if you want to hear some of the dumbest things in your life, check this out. It will sometimes make you go, oh, they're adorable, to, what the fuck are they thinking? And it's absolutely worth it if you want to see just how people... It's not lying where some people actually think like this. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of true a little bit. This is how I sometimes hear other people. So it's really short, it's finished. But also, quick warning, probably the worst opening song I have ever heard. On the first go, it is the worst one I have ever heard. But after a while, it grows on you. Unfortunately, it grows on you. And it absolutely becomes a very funny joke. So I absolutely recommend going and checking it out. Next is actually a movie. Dukai, Dukuse, if I said that correct, or it translates to classmates. This is a anime movie about two high school boys, one who is all about music, and or the blonde one in the shot is all about music and is popular. The other one is a quiet, smart guy who doesn't really understand the choir song that they have to sing. So he basically asks for help, and they end up having a little more of a bonding experience than you first think. This movie is a yaoi movie, and if you don't know yaoi, it's basically boy love. It's not hardcore, so it's innocent enough. It's innocent enough where you can watch it with your other friends and you will be absolutely fine. Do not watch it with your parents if they don't really like that type of stuff. But it's a very cute, adorable movie. The art style is very unique. I don't remember who made it. I may be absolutely wrong about this one. It's not some big studio that everyone knows. It's kind of like a smaller one. But what I really enjoy about the show is how quickly they get into all of it. Where they have the plot, and you can absolutely tell, oh, well, one of them is starting to like the other one. They basically get it all covered, and basically I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, oh, okay, alright, oh, wow, okay, they're really hitting it off. It's an hour and somewhat minute movie. Looks at time, only 9 minutes went by. It goes really quickly, and that's something I like, where it goes quickly enough where you're able to like keep track of it and actually be able to keep up with everything that's going on. So it's not really dragging itself out per se to really hint a lot at the romance of it. I think it's basically kind of doing something like a high school level romance where it's kind of quick, it hits off, and we see where it goes from there. So if you are looking for a relaxing movie to watch, but you want something with romance, and you preferably like boy love, then I say try it, give it a shot. Some people may be thrown off at the animation, but trust me, once you get really into it, you will be addicted to it. I think it came out in the spring or the summer. I watched it over the summer. It was really quick. Don't remember if it came out in the summer or the spring, though. Number 14, Oz Mafia. This is also based off of a game, and this is also short shows. So about 12 episodes, I believe. And it takes a twist on the game of Oz Mafia, where you are a student who goes to this academy, and basically every character of the show is based off of a fairy tale. Like, oh, I don't want, like, a grim tale, I think, more. But it isn't, like, very popular tales. They're, like, kind of lesser known tales. But basically, we have the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow of the Wizard of Oz. Since it's kind of, like, more hinting at that one. But for people who want to get into this, I suggest actually reading the wiki of what the game is to just get a better understanding about it. Since that's what I did, just so that I could get a better understanding of what the game was and what I was looking forward to for the show. The art style is amazing. It really is. I love the color palette. And all the characters are kind of like in this tiny, almost chibi format. And then by the time you get to the end, they like to acknowledge one character and they'll make them into the full-length body, and it's gorgeous animation. And it's kind of a pick-your-own-path game. So you kind of have some interactions like that in this game, where you'll have a pick-your-own thing, and you'll hear, like, their own responses for it. Sorry about that. So, if you like shows like this, which are comedy and can also be very serious at times, go with Oz Mafia. It's also really short. So, I think the episodes are 5 to 7 minutes. It could be a little bit longer than that. But it's something that I got done really quickly. So, go for it. Number 13, Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney, Ace Attorney, Ace Attorney. Now we're about to get into a little territory of mine that I usually try to keep locked up for these type of things, where the show goes into the ring and I get to beat it up. Now, I have played the games Ace Attorney, basically almost all of them. Where I have the first 3, and I'm getting into Apollo Justice right now. This got announced, and I was so excited for this. I could not wait. I knew I had to do this show. I was in love with the series. I was so excited for this. I remember fangirling about it when I first heard about it. And also the studio, A1 Pictures. I knew, I'm like, wow, okay, knowing about all this is going to be really great, oh my god. And it became a little bit of a luxury type thing, where you absolutely get what you want when it compares to the game, where it does follow it. It actually follows the first game, and also most of the second game. Well, I think it is probably, not most, all of the second game. And there's even, like, a original episode in there, which is probably maybe the best episode out of all of them. Because what I went into the show thinking was, I was comparing it a lot to the actual video game. Which was probably wrong on my part. If you go into this looking at it as an anime standpoint, it is actually a good detective series. You get to really investigate and try and figure out what happened. Since basically the show is about a lawyer named Phoenix Wright, and you're basically solving your own cases and helping out clients, along with a psychic medium partner named Mayu. It's, oh my god. It's a great series. I suggest, if you haven't heard of the games at all, go with the series, and you can see what the first two games are like. Of course, there are cases that are left out, so that they didn't have to go over the episode length, along with keeping it as important to the story as possible. So the cases involved are basically ones that connect a lot to what the show is trying to give off, instead of just putting it all in there, since some of them don't follow the main plot lines. But if you like the games, you have played the games, at least the first two, go into this and compare it for yourself. My opinion, as an anime, it was really good. It really was. The animation styling could be a little more cleaned up. And they could actually continue to the third game, because that's the one I've been waiting for. But comparing it to the video game, it's not that great. Just go into it thinking of it as the anime. Forget the game, the anime. The anime came first, go with the anime. And then if you really like it, go for the games and compare it. Trust me, you get a lot more from the games. And you get to see how everything got taken care of. If you know Danganronpa, with how long the trials for that takes, think of that time, and probably double it for one of these. It's a long trial. But luckily they cut it down to only a half an hour for everyone else. Okay, give it a second. Number 12. Fandanchi Kuku Nakatsu. And this is where it's a little more interesting. This is also a very short anime. 12 episodes. The episode lengths are 4 minutes. And I think this is also either a fall or a summer anime. And it's a twist on a concept. I never really heard of it before. It is about a high school student who loves boy love. And when you're like that, you are a Fandanchi. And the entire series is about the adventures of him going through his love of boy love with his friend who is gay, and that he also likes to ship him with other people and tweets about it. And that's really funny. And basically it's him discovering who he is and going with the flow. This, for anyone who has seen this, they might say, oh, the artwork style isn't that great, it can be patched up. Yes, it could. However, you would like the show more for the comedy reasons, and also or a hint of reality of what some guys actually have to deal with. And what are the other preferences people like? It's really interesting, and I think it's... yes. The next show on this list will also be one that I actually had to fight for with this show as well. Because both of them, I had difficulty of trying to figure out what order to put them in. Since this show was really funny, it was perfect of how they ended it. It didn't... I don't feel like I need more of it. I would like more for the comedy aspect, or like actual character development and all that. This came out perfect, and I'm excited because it came out as perfect as it is. Since, ta-da, it was kind of perfect. So I'm happy. I'm really happy. Alright, now. Number 11, Cheer Danshi. This came out summer, I believe. It came out in the summer. And when this show was first actually mentioned, they did not release any information about it. They just gave the name. And then they soon revealed the poster. Not this one, a different one. So you never knew what you were getting. Then as it got closer, you got this picture in the bio of basically 2 college students who are childhood friends decide that they are going to make their university's very own first all-male cheerleading squad. And it's interesting for many reasons. One, almost an all-male cast of, in my opinion, is a shoujo show. Not a shonen, a shoujo. Number 2, it's a sports anime about a sport that hasn't been touched upon, which is cheerleading. And number 3, it's also a show that I'm going to probably have a lot of trouble talking about because I don't want to make it sound bad. Because it really is not. It's a terrific show. Since they work with character development a lot. I wish that some of the characters had more development than some of the others, but it's a right amount of sports, comedy, drama, and also learning about yourself. And there are a lot of troubles of the show that actually a lot of people can relate to, whether it was dating troubles or things having to do with schooling. There are so many things that people will absolutely relate to. Me being a college student, that was interesting. I thought it was going to be a high school show. But once I found out it was about college, I was hooked way more than I already was. My bad. But also because of the different body sizes of the show. Where typical character sizes are kind of like more thinner, you'll have different ranges of people who are really tall, people who are chubbier, and people who just have a bit more thug personality. But either way, basically, you get to see a show where every character grows in a sense. Now, I don't know if this is getting a second season. I would love it to, since the last episode really doesn't make much sense. For anyone who would like to try it, go ahead. It's about 12 episodes long. And trust me, once you see it, see the cute boys trying to do all their cheering things, it's actually really cute. And the opening and the ending are fantastic. I love it. Next. Number 10. Cabinery of the Iron Fortress. This show, my god. I can't remember if this came out in the spring or the summer. I think it came out in the spring. But it's about 24. I don't want to guess that. I'm gonna try it again. Hold on. No, it can't be 24. It's either 12 or 13 episodes. This show. And if you like Attack on Titan, this is something you're going to like as well. Where it's basically about... They're not... Oh, man. Cabini? Like, however they say it, it's like... resurrecting zombies, but they're kind of like the height of the people now. And it's about a society who tries to fight them off, and one set of survivors who travel by train ever since their original place got basically overrun by them. And they travel and try to protect themselves. Along the way, they meet new people who end up either being passengers or just plain enemies. But it's, at first, you'll see it as a Attack on Titan ripoff, but with trains and guns. Trust me, I thought of it the same way, because I didn't want to see it because of that. I watched it in my anime club, and I'm like, I'll give it a try, see what happens, and surely enough, I got hooked on it so quickly. And apparently there's a season 2 being confirmed, even though, in my opinion, this series came out perfect as it is. I was so excited for it. I could not wait to finish this, and I love it. And of course, it isn't a surprise knowing that people die in this show, because what would you expect? It's like Attack on Titan. But I didn't like that my favorite character died. But I'm not gonna let you know that, because of the fact that if I do, people are probably gonna get upset because it's a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say anything. Either way, if you like action, if you like gore, and if you want to see like a villain kind of done like great, since it's a type of villain who you kind of expected it to be the villain, but the length the villain will go and what he actually does is absolutely amazing. And I hate saying it like that because he's the fucking villain and I really didn't like what he did. Either way, this show will keep you on the edge of your seat. And I think the only reason why it isn't higher is because it wasn't on any of my lists that I did of shows that I was like really anticipating for. And some of the other shows were ones that I've been waiting for a long time to watch. Yet, of course, it beat freaking Ace Attorney because it's way better. Absolutely, this show is absolutely better. And I'm sad it isn't as talked about as it should be. Like Attack on Titan was. I think if Attack on Titan did not happen, this show would basically be number 1. And that's fantastic. It's like, yes, great, good. I can't wait. Alright. So we're at 10. We're going to continue to see how long we can do this. Woo! Since we have 10 more shows, I'm going to try not to blab. Because at any minute, this could absolutely cut out and I could absolutely have to make 2 parts. Which is something that I really don't want to do. So let's continue. Once I'm freezing. Number 9. Watashi ga Mote Desunda. Or Kiss Him Not Me. This is a series that I started on the manga. Like a while, I don't even remember when. And I read like quite a few chapters. Like not even chapters, I read a few like volumes. I don't think I ever finished it. But I was like captivated. But I stopped for some reason. I don't know why. But when I heard the show was coming out, I got back into it, and I think it was a friend of mine that actually got me to really sit down and watch it again. And I'm so glad I did, because this is basically a whole twist on the whole romance thing of a girl who is like this kind of chubby, nerdy character who loves anime and all that is in love with anime characters, and also BL, and her friend talks about it all the time. And one day her favorite anime character passes away from, of course, an anime fight. So she basically kind of goes into a wreck and turns into a beautiful girl. And that is where we get the very pretty purple hair character there. And now suddenly all these boys around her that knew her before fall in love with her. And it's a very good comedy romance show that will kind of hook you in on the first episode because of how ridiculous everything is. But also, by the time you get, like, halfway through, you want to know, okay, who are you going to get with? You gotta tell me. And that question will be on your mind ever, like, till the very end to see who she ends up with. And it's so entertaining, it's so funny. I think why it's so low on my list is just because it wasn't that big with me as compared to the other shows on this list. But it's still good enough where I say, go ahead, try it out. There may actually be a season 2. Don't know yet. If there is, I will absolutely be watching it. It's so funny. Next. Waiting for it to not freeze, and it did. Okay. Number 8. Funwo Amu. This was a show of this year that I think is underappreciated. For the reasons being that when you see the show, it translates to The Great Passage. And it's about basically a dictionary, not editorial, the dictionary team of a publisher company trying to make their new dictionary called The Great Passage. And, it has a young man. I hate it because his name is like at the tip of my tongue, and I don't want to say it because like, I know it's like the wrong one. And I hate. Either way, it's about a young man who basically is really bad with interactions with other people, but he loves, like, not really loves, but he's good with words, and he knows what he's talking about without actually knowing what he's talking about. So he gets hired to get on board onto the team, and it's basically the journey of not only the character developments, but also to see if they finish the book on time. This is a show that actually got me crying near the end of it, because they pulled a move that you basically kind of expect, almost, from what, like, from the certain characters that they have in the show. You kind of expected something like that would happen, but at the same time, it's something that you didn't want to happen, because the feels. What got me really into the show was, I'm also an English major, so, for a show about English, and to actually, like, teach you about words and, like, dictionaries and all that, I found it really interesting. And also how they use, like, metaphors and all of that. And not only that, but the opening is fantastic. It's so catchy. And it's one of my favorite openings of the year. So, it's a show that has, like, some comedy, but it's more of a drama, and I kind of want to say slice of life, but it's almost as real as it may get to what a publishing job may have you to do. And just the amount of characters of the show and just how well they are developed, and how, yeah, you'll have, like, some minor characters, but in reality, you get to really see them get to a funny, happy place. And just about every character has a happy ending. Basically, by, I think, episode 10, because I think this has about 12 or 13 episodes. By episode 10, they actually, like, reveal, like, how some of the characters are doing after, like, a time skip. I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. But what got me on, like, something about this show is that I think they needed to really show a little more on some of the people's lives. Where one episode will have, like, this going on, and then next it'll be like, oh, well, we got this story out a while ago. And it's like, why didn't we get to see that happen? I would have loved to see that happen. Even if we saw, like, a part of it happening, I would still like to see important moments. Either way, this is in my opinion, it was a fun show to actually sit down and watch. But it does hit you a lot to just how far the characters go. And I'm trying to compare it to another show, but it's hard to. It's just a show that I think everyone needs to watch in general to get a hint about teamwork, the workforce, and also about discovering things about themselves. And I know I've been saying that a lot lately for these animes, but this is, like, dead serious. Like, once you understand, you'll see just how far characters will go for each other, and also just how far you need to go yourself to reach your goal. Yeah, I hit really deep on that one, my bad. It was really good, I can't help it. Number 7, Danganronpa 3, Despair. I split Danganronpa 3 into their 2 respective shows for a reason. Because a lot of people will probably just do the Danganronpa 3 and put them together. Well, to me, I saw them as 2 separate shows. On my anime list, it's 2 different shows. So to me, there are 2 different shows. Now, I will probably be doing a lot more complaining on this one than compliments. Only for the reason of this, like, yes, we get to see the characters of the second Danganronpa game, but it's not how we would have wanted to see them. Was it clever? Abso-fucking-lutely. I loved it. I loved how we get to see them beforehand. I'm not angry about that. It's not, oh, I want them to do this, blah, blah. Well, I mean, yes, but at the same time, it was really nice to see these characters act how they were in the game, but it is actual reality instead of what the second game is about. I'm going to try to leave this as spoiler-free as I can, because Danganronpa is the entire game franchise of the first game, Danganronpa 2, another episode. Now there's the new Danganronpa V3, which I'm so excited for. But Danganronpa 3, Despair, and Future are 2 original things, but they are prequels and sequels of the game franchises. But basically, Danganronpa, as a kind of like background, if you don't know what Danganronpa is, the original, it's 16 students, 15, my bad, get locked up in a school, Hope's Peak Academy, and they're told they have to participate in the killing game. And basically, the only way that they can graduate is if they kill off a student and get away with it. And they go through trials, and basically, if they guess the murderer correctly, the murderer will get punished. If they guess wrong, everyone else will get punished, and the murderer will get to go free. The punishment is execution. So, Danganronpa 3 Despair takes it a whole new route, where they don't have the killing game, but they show you everything that happens at Hope's Peak Academy before Danganronpa the animation came out, or actually happened. So if you know how Danganronpa the animation, or even the video game, was actually happening, then you will get to see how life was before that with these characters. And they're pretty memorable characters, and there isn't really a character that people hate. Well, a little bit. But of course, you'll see like flashbacks to like older characters as well, along with characters who are from Danganronpa 3 Future. My tip is, when you watch Danganronpa 3, do Future first. You have to do one episode at a time for each. So Danganronpa 3 Future episode 1, Danganronpa 3 Despair episode 1, and then Danganronpa 3 Future episode 2, and then you go back and forth like that, like leapfrog. Or you can do it whatever order you want, but if you want it to make the most sense and how the animators wanted it to be, do it in that order, or else you will probably note things ahead of time, and that would be bad. You don't want that. Either way, why it's so low on my list is basically for the reason of why I was complaining about it, which is, do I like this version of it? Yes. Would I wanted to see it from it being on the island, like in the second game? Absolutely. That was what I wanted the most. I would have wanted to see it exactly like that, where it was basically the second game played out, because I would have liked to see how that would have turned out. Am I happy with the results that we got? I am happy. I like it. But I would just prefer the other one more, so that we could have it a lot like the video game. Number 6. Magic-kun Renaissance. This was a show that, it was on my list. It was pretty low on my list, though. I think it came out in fall, I believe. And it's basically about a girl named Kohana. Remember it? Kohana Agasai, or Hayagasi. I was so close. But she transfers to a new school where every student has an art. Like, art magic, kind of, where they each have a talent that will release sparkles. And each sparkle is different for every student, and that is basically the magic of it. And the magic basically draws your attention to it. So you'll have people who are singers, painters, dancers, music players, and anything like that. Anything that will give off the sparkle, or things that are considered art. It will work like that. This show, it wasn't actually a show that I was going to complete right away. It might have actually been a show that I might have never completed if my friend never bugged me about it. Luckily she did, because I remember watching this along with another show, and going and comparing both shows, and actually saying, they're actually kind of similar in a way. But this show has a lot. People pay attention to details in the show, where you have things named after certain references that will go with the character and what they're trying to portray. And I would sit there with my friend and actually say, "Holy crap, did you catch that? The name of that tiny object. It's actually like a reference to a musical instrument, and coincidentally, that character is named after it because they know how to do music. Wow, holy crap." There is so much that the show pays attention to, and I love those tiny details. Tiny, tiny details. The only thing that I would have loved to see a little bit different is kind of having it not be as predictable as it was. Sure, you kind of, you realize that some of the characters, like, the shows are going to do, like, you get to see every member. Well, I never actually explained this completely correctly. Anyway, she enters the school, and At first, she doesn't have a magic, and her mom was a big flower arrangement woman who can do it. But she ends up being a part of the student, a club board that help, arranges, all the, club fair, I guess. And along with everyone else on the poster, and they try to not only, um, get this all completed, but also to actually kind of open up a little bit more and actually bond with each other and become friends. And I like that. I really do. Yay. But the last few episodes will have you, heart-wrenching. It's like, oh my god. But what I was saying about what I would like the show to not do is be as predictable as it was. Because, yes, you have in reverse harem, cute guys, girl that helps them all, yes. It's just kind of very predictable at this point. So, something a little bit newer would actually help it. Hooray! And what I actually really also like is that, her, best friend is in the show way more than other characters from other shows would be. AKA Yuta no Prince Sama, but I'm not saying anything. But I will get to that in a minute. But I just found the show really, really adorable. And if they came out with a season 2, I think I would absolutely jump on it. I'm just not that good with multiple seasons of shows, because I just have somewhat of a problem actually following along and actually continuing it. Now we're getting to top 5s, and I'm so happy. So happy. Number 5. Seki Kusuno Sainan. This show, I finished it a few days ago. And let me tell you, I started the show a long time ago. And I think I saw 20 episodes a while ago. And this was going to be entry 20. It's now 5. From 20 to 5. Because of how the show actually ended up and turned out. And hoping there will be a season 2. I'm so excited. They're very short episodes, but they did actually make TV episodes where they combine 5 episodes per episode. So you can actually watch it just like that. And it's in sub and dub, and I recommend both. They're very good, and I like them. So that's actually a very plus side if I say I like both sub and a dub. But it's about a boy named Seki Kusuo who has psychic abilities, and it's basically about how he has to now deal with his life, trying to avoid people that he doesn't want to talk to, and also dealing with his psychic and about 10 different abilities that it's hard to keep track of what he has. But either way, he has so many. The openings and endings are really, really good if you see it through the TV versions, not the short versions. You can find the short versions, because every episode is actually about 3 to 4 minutes long. So it's better to just see the TV episodes where it's 23 minutes, because basically it's 5 episodes in 1.5 hour. This show is so funny, and I actually had to argue with the next show on my list because of this is a show that I would go back and watch instantly, but it's a comedy show, and I wanted to acknowledge the next show for the art illustrations and actually the plot of the show, because this one, it changes, because it is a parody comedy show, it changes over and over again. Next show has a very steady plot, had me wrenching, trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and it had me somewhat shocked by the end, but I liked it enough where I'm like, yes. Also, the opening and ending was fantastic. And of course, I'm talking about Erase. It came out in the fall, and murder, mystery, drama, love it. It's for people who want to watch it. Just a fair warning: there is a very strong subject of child abuse in this show that a lot of people said that with Yuri in April, and I don't want to get into that show just because I have a big problem with that show, but this kind of ups that a little bit when it comes to that subject. So just a big warning for people who want to watch this. I would say the episodes that they're in just to warn people, but I really don't remember it. It's in sub and dub. I think it's in dub. It should be in dub. Yeah. And it's about a boy who, actually a man who is able to jump back in time, up the time span of a minute to 5 minutes if anything was going wrong. And he is able to kind of fix anything that's about to happen. But when he gets accused of a crime, he accidentally jumps back years, to when he was in elementary school. And what happened in elementary school was that a girl that he knew was murdered, and now with the opportunity that he is going back in time to try to figure out if he can actually prevent that from happening. I found this also, well, with everything that I named, what I found unique was that the show didn't just stop of, oh, he's in the past, we're gonna just keep him in the past. He'll jump back and forth. And I found that very interesting, since you really don't know what what he would do will affect this. So the butterfly effect. It's very, very well done. And I honestly suggest that if you want a show that will have you really thinking about what is going on, please watch this. It's really short. I think 12 episodes again. But a friend of mine did say that if you want a better explanation about the killer of the show, please go read the manga. I'm not gonna spoil about who is it, because even though I got it correct on the first try of who it was, if you want a better understanding about how he he ended up the way that he did, go read the manga. It's a better understanding than what they do in the show. So, there you go. Number 3, Yuta no Prince-sama Maji Love Legend Star, or Season 4. Yuta no Prince-sama is big for coming out with seasons about 2 years apart. So I found out about this when Season 3 came out 2 years ago. And I was like, really? And I completely forgot about it. So when it was announced, I was like, yes. And now there's probably a confirm of Season 5. And I knew that if this show kept going, they could probably do one more season. And then that's it. They can't really do much more. Since I really don't know where they can take it anymore from what they have here. Where, compared to all the other shows, all the other seasons, this season is basically about a singing competition where it's the band Starish, which is the main band here on screen, going up against 2 other bands. And they're all singing groups. And if you like reverse harems, this is probably the biggest harem I have ever seen. With about 20 guys. And I'm loving it. And there is absolutely a high possibility of it being any of them for this girl. And if you want a better understanding about what the series is about, check out my top 10 anime list, and I actually like really go through with this, but I can't really say anything much without spoiling all the other seasons. But seriously, all the series are 13 episodes each. It's really interesting, and this is, if you love music, this is where it's at. It's better than K-On! Number 2, Danganronpa 3 Future Arc. Now, this is the continuation of where Danganronpa, the animation, left off. Where basically any of the survivors from that one is now in the Future Foundation, which was formed to try and put an end to despair. But they are now back again into a killing game, but with completely new rules. And it's very interesting because basically everyone is a former high school level blank. So they still have their talents, but they're not in high school anymore, they're adults. So it's interesting to see what the new oh my god. It's interesting to see like how different it is from the animation to not the animation. The first game is to this one, because this is completely new, but it was actually created by the people who made Danganronpa, so they know what they're doing. They lined everything up right, and they wanted to say a proper goodbye to the old cast. Since with the V3 coming out, this is basically them saying this is a goodbye to the cast that we kind of grew up with. Literally, that grew up with us. So, if you like murder mystery, blah blah blah, it's like psychological damage, because this show has a lot of psychological damage. And also, if you want to scream your fucking voice out, this is the show to do it. Why I like this one more than Despair is I liked Danganronpa for the killing game aspect, and it's really wrong saying that, but I just like the mystery part of it. And with Despair, it did have mystery, but it wasn't the type of mystery that I like. Also, there is like more than one mystery that has to get solved in this, and I'm excited. Well, I was excited, and it's really good to see like these new characters, since, like I said, like Despair, like those characters are from the second game. Some of the characters from this is in Despair. And you get to see how they were before all the shit went down. So I'm happy to see that we get to actually see what happens in the end. Like, woo, conquer, yes, let's do it, let's try to do it. But, for people who also know me and have been watching my videos, clearly you can see that for some fucking reason, Danganronpa, whatever Danganronpa is, never comes in first. It's always like behind. It's either in like second or third. I don't know why. It just happens. Because it was on my favorite anime list. I think it was like on my favorite summer list. And now it's here. So what could beat this? What beats my murder, mystery, lust, and all that? Well, calmness does. Or, Tanaka-kun wa Itsumo Kadaragu. I always get it correctly, except for the last word. But basically, it means, Tanaka-kun is listless, which is a weird title. But it's basically about, Tanaka-kun going through his life, and he wants to do it the most lazy way possible. And this show came out in the spring, and I was like looking for something that would basically get me to relax, because I was under so much stress, and I'm like, I need anime, and this was on my list, so I'm like, I'll just start it, blah blah blah. No, actually, I don't think this was actually on my list. I just kept seeing it pop up everywhere, and I looked into it, and I'm like, alright. And it's fantastic. It has the right amount of comedy, calmness, and it isn't, like, over the top. The comedy is so funny, and if you need something to watch for a lazy day, this is what you would watch. And it does have a dub now, I believe. And as soon as I can find a DVD copy, this is what I'm getting. And I'm like, yes, it's so good. And it's something that you can watch with your parents and not feel ashamed for, which is always a plus. Absolutely. Also, probably the best school in all of anime. So, I guess that's my list of the top 20 shows of 2016. This year has been crazy, especially, like, outside the anime world. It has been crazy, but within the anime world, it's actually been a pretty good year, and I'm happy that it came out as well as it did, because it could have absolutely been fucked. Eh. Sorry, my voice is kind of giving out now, since as of 2016, this is going to be my longest video ever, which is also a shocker to me. To me. And I'm happy that I didn't make a mistake except for the days. So, another accomplishment. So, I guess probably the next video won't come out until we're in 2017, which is wow. So, I guess I will see you all in the new year. If you liked the video and you want to see more, how about you subscribe, join the love, and if you want to show me your favorite show, leave it in the comment. I read all of them. So, I guess that's it. Have a happy new year, everyone.